Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming back. Welcome to week 4. This is the second in the series of relationships and how they are affected by mental health challenges. We're going to do a couple of interviews today. The first being with my son, Stephen, or Carl Stephen Wilder. And the second with a lovely couple, Miss Laura Hawes and Deanne Weaver. And they're both going to discuss their relationships with individuals who live with mental health challenges as well as each other, and how it affects them as individuals, period. I want to thank you all for continually coming back and for embracing this talk show so welcomely. I am so overwhelmingly happy at how successful this show has been. So let's start off first with Stephen. Hey son, how you doing?
Good morning, Mom. How are you?
I'm doing well. Tell everybody your name.
Full name is Carl Stephen Wilder.
All right, and
For
tell
the people
them.
who are seeing this that don't know my full name, don't ever call me Carl.
So what's your Bakersfield name?
My Bakersfield name?
Yeah, come on, put it out there.
The people out here know me as DJ Darkness.
So tell us a little bit about you.
I'm 31 years old. I have 5 kids. I have an amazingly beautiful and wonderful woman who helps me raise these crazy kids. I live in Bakersfield, California. I am a DJ by trade, but I also trade in the foreign exchange markets. I was in the military for 5 years, and I did air traffic control when I was in the military.
What branch?
I was in the Navy,
All
stationed
right.
out of NAS Lemoore.
So I always wanted to ask this of a Navy person. Did they make you swim a lot?
No, because I didn't get to go nowhere. I got stuck in Lemoore and didn't get to get transferred to a boat, so no.
Okay, well,
Even in boot camp, we were only in the water maybe twice.
well, I know how much you love the water. What was life like for you growing up?
Life for me growing up was exciting and confusing. I say that because we were constantly on the move. There were times where we would just kind of chill, sit still, and, just kind of be at home. But there would also be random off-the-wall times where you would be like, come on, let's get in the car. We would be like, okay, why? And we would just take off. We would go on some wild and crazy adventure that Mom did not know where we were going, did not care where we were going. We were just going. We were going this way, we were going that way, we were going that way. It didn't matter where we were going, but wherever we ended up was fun, and we did it together. Didn't make much sense when I was little, but at the same time, I didn't care. Little kid, 10 o'clock at night, in the park on a school night, let's go. Why am I going to trip? Why am I going to ask questions? Mom says, let's go. Let's go. The first couple of times, of course, we asking questions, but once you start doing it on a regular basis, there's no need to ask questions because we already know we're about to have fun. Of course, kids are going to be like, are we there yet? Where are we going? Why are we going there? What are we doing? My kids do that to me all the time. Guys, chill. We're going to go have fun. Okay, where are we going? Why are we going there? When are we going to get there? Kids ask questions.
Yes, they do.
However, when you get used to a certain action, when you know something's about to go down, then you're like, okay, let's go. And that's just the way that it was. We were going. It didn't matter where we were going. It didn't matter any of the stuff. We knew we were going to have fun, and it was always a family affair. It was me, you, and Thomas, so we had fun.
Yes, we did. So tell us a little bit about the adventures your mom took you on.
I don't remember all of them, but I know that there were good times. One of the ones that the main ones that I remember is us going to Balboa Park in the middle of the night. I remember we used to go to Balboa Park on a regular basis, literally in the middle of the night, like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, midnight, in the middle of the night. There was a big old monkey that we used to play in at the park.
Yeah.
And I remember you taking pictures of us in the monkey, and the people at your job thought that it was a toilet or something like that.
Yeah, they sure did.
And
we had to do it again so they could see the monkey.
Yeah. Good times at Balboa Park.
Yes, the homeless people can be kind of scary.
Yeah, he started freaking out, so we stopped going to the park. I remember that time when we were trying to find the beach and ended up circling around it like 10, 15 times and ended up finding SeaWorld. and when we got there, SeaWorld was closed.
Yeah.
And we didn't know what to do.
And it was
the
so
whole plan
funny.
was to go to the beach. And it's crazy how we couldn't find the beach because you could see the water.
Hello.
So we couldn't figure out how to get to it. You can see the water. It's like, all right, I'm right here. Come here. Come play. It's cool. The water feels good. The water ball. Come get in. But we can't find it. So we ended up in Old Town San Diego, walking around, shopping, having a good time, just acting silly. I remember my birthday, junior high. My birthday in junior high, when I got to sign a couple of my friends out of school. I didn't know what we were doing. I didn't care. I was stoked about the fact that I got to take my friends out of school. What kid you know gets to go to school and sign out some other kids? Legitimately. Not without faking it. Not without lying about it. Legitimately. Their parents knew what I was doing.
Yep.
So that just made it more fun. When you did tell me what we were doing, I got a little upset because I didn't really want to see my dad. You told me we were going to see my dad. I don't know why I didn't want to see my dad, but I know I didn't want to see my dad. And as we were driving to what I thought we were going to go see my dad, you ended up getting lost. So you pulled off and pulled us off to the side because my friends knew where we were going, and they weren't supposed to tell me. And you figured that I would have caught on to the fact that you know where my dad lives, so how did you get lost going to my dad's house?
Yeah.
So you told me what you were doing, and I got excited. I'm like, oh, Universal Studios, I'm losing it. We're going to have a good old time. It's going to be off the hook. But when we get there, Universal Studios only has 1 more hour to be open. So we're at the park that we've been trying to find all day with 1 hour to have fun.
Yeah.
So what do? We enjoy the heck out of that park.
Yes,
we go to Jurassic Park like 4 or 5 times. As a matter of fact, that's honestly the only ride that I remember us riding. I know we rode like 3 or 4 rides, but I remember riding Jurassic Park over and over and over again, and that's all getting soaked.
Yeah, thank God it was summertime.
Yeah, and only being in Universal for an hour, but it was like the best time ever. It wasn't the fact that we only got an hour to spend at the park. We had fun in that hour. It wouldn't have mattered if we had 30 minutes. We had a blast in that little bit of time that we had, and it was me, you, and a couple of my friends. We had a really, really good time. I enjoyed that birthday. I always remember that birthday. That birthday was like, I was what, like 13?
Yeah, about.
31 now, and I still remember that birthday. That's how good that birthday was.
Wow. Your mom sounds irresponsible. So those times when she took you to the park late at night, did it interrupt your sleep? I mean, were you able to concentrate at school?
No, I was fine. My mom's not irresponsible. My mom's just crazy, spontaneous, and likes to have a good time. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
What about when she's...
We always had food. We always had clothes. We always had whatever we needed. If we was hurting, like bad, then I'd be like, irresponsible. We was never hurting bad. Even when we was hurting bad, we wasn't hurting bad. We was good. So never my mom was irresponsible. Mom was always had it on point, even when she thought she didn't.
It's good to know that you guys had such confidence in me when I didn't have confidence in myself.
Well, I look at it like this. A lot of people had a lot of people that I know personally have had some really, really harsh upbringings, have had some really, really hard times, have had some really, really struggles that they've had to go through, you know? And we, of course, had our share of struggles. We had our share of hard times, but it was never anything extremely like life-threatening. You know, I was never forced to get on the streets and sell drugs to make sure that we could pay the bills because you weren't working and my dad wasn't around. You know, I ain't got no story like that. You know, I was so afraid of smoking a cigarette because my mom was going to kick my butt. Mom was on it. Mom had us. Mom made sure that we were respectful, we were polite. You know, we had that instilled in us because moms not only worked 2 to 3 jobs at a time, but still made time to put a foot in our ass if we needed it. So, yeah, we didn't have it as hard as a lot of other people did. And saying that you're irresponsible, to me, is an irresponsible statement because you did everything that you could to make sure that we were on point and to keep us away from stupid stuff. Because you could have just not cared, and we could have gotten into all kinds of stupid stuff. But that's not the way it went down.
Thank you for that. I needed that. That's really good to hear from you, especially with you being my oldest son and the one that I relied on the most. Because Lord knows you let me know that I relied on you a lot. But I am so thankful for having the two of you. So when you found out, how did you feel when you found out about your mom's diagnosis?
It clarified a lot of things for me. When I found out about your diagnosis and actually found out what you were going through and what you were dealing with, it was kind of like, oh, that makes sense now. You know, the spontaneous things that we were doing, you not being able to sit still, us kind of bouncing around and just taking off, you know, a lot of that made sense. And then the fact that when I got older, I was starting to be able to notice when you were sad, or starting to be able to notice when you were overly excitable or overly happy. You know, it all kind of put the pieces into place. It put the pieces into perspective for me when I found out what you were going through. And it made it a lot easier for me to try to be there for you when I actually knew that you needed me to be there for you. And I actually knew that you needed more support than I ever thought that you would, because you've always been a strong, wonderful, independent woman in my eyes, but I didn't know the internal struggle that you were dealing with while you were being the strong woman that you were being. So it helped me understand you on a different level that I probably never would have had I not been educated about what you were going through.
How has your experience with me and my diagnosis helped you around your friends? Or better yet, how did your friends respond about being around me so much?
My friends loved you. My friends still love you. I have friends that I've known for 15, 16, 17, 18, even 20 years that still see you as mom. That I haven't talked to in a long time. That my friend Patrick, you remember Patrick, right?
Oh, yes, I remember Patrick.
I haven't talked to Patrick in a long time, but the last time I talked to Patrick, first thing he asked me was, how's mom doing? Me and Patrick have known each other for over 20 years, since back when we were still living in San Diego. Still sees you as mom. All of my friends have always loved you. All of my friends have always seen you as a mother figure, because you've always been loving and supportive and treated them with respect and like you were mom. It didn't matter if they was your kids, you would beat them just the same as if they was, but it wasn't because you were trying to hurt them, it's because you loved them and you cared about them. You would sit down and listen to what they had to say. You would sit down and talk to them, give them advice, you know, be that mother, but at the same time, be a friend, to them as well. All my friends still see you as mom. All my friends still see you as mom, still address you as mom, still ask about you as mom. When we talk about you, you're mom. That's just the way that it is. That's how everybody has always seen you. That's how everybody's always going to see you.
I like that badge. That's an awesome badge. Being mom can be pretty cool. How has your relationship changed with your mom?
I think my understanding of you and how I come at you is on a different level now. Because knowing how you interpret things, and as amazing as it is when you come to me for advice, I know how to better word and phrase the advice that I give you to make it easier for you to understand and internalize. Because I can say the exact same thing to you as I can say to somebody else, and say it word for word exactly the same, and they might not understand it, and you would. Or you might not understand what I'm saying, and they would. It helps me be more empathetic to what you're going through and kind of be more in your head and more understanding of how you're thinking, of how you're feeling and what you're going through, so that way I can better help you if you need me to help, or I can better listen and actually understand what you're saying, instead of just listening to you but not really getting what you're saying, but still trying to be supportive. Does that make sense?
It does. So there's a lot of chatter out there about leaving your children or trusting your family with individuals who live with mental illness within families. Do you feel as though your children are safe with me?
Of course. Of course. I mean, you raised us. You raised us. We're doing good. My brother is amazing. He's doing bomb. I'm doing good. You're a wonderful person. You're doing good for yourself right now. I would leave my kids with you before I would leave them with anybody else. Of course I trust my children with you. Chatter about the safety of people with mental illness is only because people don't truly understand the things that the people with mental illness are going through. If they educated themselves to the individual and their individual illness, then they would better understand what they are going through and what they can and cannot handle. There are some people with mental illness who, one, don't truly understand what they're going through themselves.
Yes.
And two, don't know how to handle what they're going through, and they need help. So, not saying that they can't be trusted with somebody's children, it would be more they need to help. They need to be helped for themselves. Absolutely. In order to get to a level where they can help other people. But a lot of people who have mental illness that understand what they're going through can control a lot of the situations that they can't, that they're dealing with. And when they're in a when they're feeling like they don't have that control, they know how to speak up and say something about it.
Yes.
They know how to be like, you know what, I'm in a space right now where I'm not in a good space. This isn't a good time for me, or I'm dealing with something right now. You know, they know how. They know when they're good points, they know when they're bad points. And you're definitely one of those people who knows how to control what she's going through for the most part. And when you do have the moments where you can't control it, you speak up for it. Speak up on it, or you ask for help. There's been a few times where you were having a really bad anxiety attack, and you called me. Steve, talk to me. Tell me a story. Sing to me. Talk about the beach. Whatever. You ask me for help. Why? Because everybody needs help sometimes. Even quote-unquote normal people need help sometimes. Everybody deals with some kind of issue in one form or another. So to say that people who have mental illnesses or who have accepted what they're dealing with are not safe to be around children, that's not true. That's just ignorance, in my opinion.
Great point. And I'm glad that you put that out there, especially about the quote-unquote normal people. You know what I say about normal? It's a setting on the dryer. I mean, anybody, go take a look at your dryer. You'll see what I'm talking about. It literally is a setting on the dryer. So,
I mean, if you want to be normal, then I kind of feel bad for you, because being normal is boring.
Have you received any support regarding your relationship with your mom?
I don't necessarily feel that I need support when it comes to your diagnosis or what you're going through or how I handle it, because when I learned about what you were going through, it set off the light bulb. It made things more clear to me about how things were when we were kids. I think it's more about being educated about what you're going through so I can be there more to support you. I don't really feel like I need support. I feel like I need to be there more for you when you need me to be, but not force it upon you to where you feel like I don't trust you, or you feel like I think you can't take care of yourself. I need to be more understanding, empathetic, and ready to emotionally compensate you if that's what you need from me, or listen to you and understand you if that's what you need from me, or do what I can to be there for you on any level that you need me to be there for you on. You are who you are, and who you are is an amazingly beautiful person. So I don't need support for knowing that my mom is an amazingly beautiful person. I need to know how I can be there for you in the times that you need me, when you do need me. So I guess that's the best way I can answer that.
So addressing those folks out there who have family members who either have a diagnosis or they are suspected of having one, no one quite knows what's going on with them, what would you suggest to them as to how to take care of their family members or be supportive of their family members in those incidents?
Get educated. Learn as much as you can about whatever situation that your loved one is in, whatever situation that your loved one is going through, and be patient. Patience is a really, really, really big deal when it comes to people with mental illness. Not because you have to treat them like children,
yes,
but because they see things differently than maybe you do. They understand things differently than maybe you do. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It doesn't mean that it's a messed up way. It's just different. So you need to understand and be patient with how they interpret things and how they go about things. And the only way that that patience is going to come is by being educated and knowing, okay, this is how they're going. This is how what they're dealing with. These are the symptoms of what they're dealing with. This is probably how what they're thinking, what they're going through. You got to get that education. You have to really, really put in that work to understand and be compassionate about the things that they deal with, the situations that they go through, because you care about them. So it's important for you to understand them. And the only way you're going to do that is by learning.
Absolutely. Thank you, sweetheart. I love you so much. My son amazes me. I learn so much from him and his little brother every day. And it's like to hear the things that he was saying about how living with me has not only changed their lives, but helped them gain a broader perspective on things, just really makes my heart jump for joy. And I really hope that it reached out to you to have a frank conversation with your children and with your family. I know when I was first diagnosed, I began to sit down with my children and try to explain to them the realities of things, and I apologized profusely for my behaviors and actions, and they just embraced me, and I was one of the lucky ones. And I know some are not as fortunate as me. So we'll move on to the next interview with Miss Laura Hawes and Miss Deanne Weaver. So thank you for being here with us. I want to introduce you to these lovely ladies.
I'm Laura Haas. Deanne Weaver.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about you.
About me, I am a retired nurse. I had to leave nursing because of my diagnosis, but I still try to volunteer and use my nursing skills, and I come to Hearts and Ears very frequently. It's helped me to become stable again. I was in and out of hospitals my entire life since I was 18, and I'm 53 now. I think I was probably misdiagnosed a bunch of times, and finally getting on the right medication, I think, so that I can think clearly and function. I haven't been inpatient in 4 years, which is a big record for me.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And I have her too to help.
Okay, I became disabled when my symptoms started to become unmanageable, and I'm an artist, and I also volunteer at Hearts and Ears.
Okay, so how'd you ladies meet?
Online.
Hey.
And then we did the big lesbian thing, and what does a lesbian take to the second date? A U-Haul.
Okay, I don't think I've heard that joke before.
It wasn't quite that fast. We did date a little bit before we got married.
Okay, how long have you ladies been married?
3 years in April. April 18th.
Wow. Would you ladies like to share what your diagnoses are?
Sure. For a very long time, I was diagnosed with major depression and treatment-resistant major depression, meaning that none of the meds helped. I've been on all of the antidepressants, I think except one, and they didn't work, and I've had ECT. So at this point, I've been diagnosed with bipolar, and I don't really even know if it's 1 or 2 or what. It's just, that's the latest thing, and the medications for that seem to be working.
Okay. And how about you, Ms. Deanne?
I have bipolar 1 with psychotic features, PTSD, and dissociative identity disorder.
And how does your relationship survive the coexistence of your diagnosis together?
Because we have similar symptoms, we can support each other, we can help each other. We can recognize when one is becoming the other is becoming symptomatic. That helps. We know, for example, if Laura's becoming dissociative, I can help talk her down, help bring her back into reality, and she can do the same for me.
Yeah, we both have PTSD, and I think more she means that she's dissociative disorder, not otherwise specified, because she doesn't have personalities. But we both have the same thing, so we do recognize it. I see, I have to be very careful if I'm walking into the kitchen and she's doing dishes to be loud enough for her to hear me over the water. And I can't use my voice as the first sound because she'll jump really high, and she really puts up with my symptoms, and sometimes I wonder why she stays with me, because with my bipolar, I go into rages, and I'll just start screaming and yelling and cussing and pacing and out of control. And sometimes I'll feel like I want to hurt someone, and I'll act like I'm going to hurt someone, but I don't. That's not really part of my personality. I'm a very gentle person generally, and that's, it's not me to do that. So, and she knows to move out of the way, and she kind of knows even when to try to say something, try to get me to calm down, or why don't you go in your room and sit in our room, sit and take some deep breaths, that sort of thing. We help each other a lot.
Or call Mary.
So where did you go to learn the coping skills to be such a supportive team?
A lot of
The
hospital, years and years of individual therapy before we even met. There's coping skills, we learned at Hearts and Ears.
A lot we learned at Hearts and Ears.
Reading on our own. Just reading, when I say reading on our own, reading self-help books ourselves.
Looking stuff up online. Asking our own individual therapist, or being open to hearing what each other learned at therapy. Like I learned this from my therapist today, and maybe if you tried this, I could do that, and we'll get along. And
well, you guys seem very, very happy, and the fact that you have been together for 3 years, I mean, that's awesome. That is so awesome that relationships can survive the fact that individuals have diagnosis. You combined are such a loving and wonderful couple that you're there for one another, you help one another, but you also know when to give each other space. And in coming together, you make things so much better for one another, correct?
we do.
How has your diagnosis affected your relationships with your families?
Okay, go ahead.
Well, my family has been going through this, I mean hers too, but been going through this since like childhood, and with my symptoms. And at one point, my father had me exorcised because he thought that I let mental illness inside me from using a Ouija board when I was in junior high school. And he has really strong beliefs, Christian beliefs. And he, for a while, wasn't very good with the whole gay thing either. And then my brothers don't really believe there's anything wrong with me. They just want to say no. And then my mother, between the gay thing and the illness thing, has completely disowned me. We don't speak at all, and that hurts a lot. It hurts a whole lot.
And how sometimes it can be difficult for them or for family members to accept.
At this point, I should just say quickly that my father is wonderful. He totally accepts Deanne. Christmas presents, I get Christmas presents. I mean, we're very, and they understand that we both have symptoms, and that, you know, we might miss Thanksgiving because of the symptoms, you know, and he's fine. But
See, on the other hand, like with my family, they've always been really accepting. You know, the gay thing was never a big deal. My mother always had gay friends, especially gay male friends. So that was not a big deal to her. My mother worshipped Divine.
Oh, yes.
Okay, my mom was like a big Divine fan, so, you know, that was, you know, she used to ask me if I knew any drag queens that looked like Divine. You know, my mom unfortunately is deceased, and in honor of her, because she was so accepting of me, when Laura and I got married, we both wore a piece of my mom's jewelry. So that way she was there in spirit. And like my dad and I have a younger sister, they're very accepting of it. You know, my dad really didn't understand bipolar disorder, and I had suggested, well, can you Google it? You know, I'm on the computer all day. I don't feel like looking. I said, all right. So I try to explain it to him the best I can. My sister understands it. As a matter of fact, she'll look up stuff and email it to me. Is this you? Does this apply to you? So I'm fortunate to have the understanding and acceptance that I do.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. What would you guys recommend to families who have a hard time accepting, or even those who do accept support or resources? What would you recommend for them?
First of all, listen to your family member, and remember that is your family member. Don't make it about you.
Okay.
It's about your family member. You know, this is someone you love. It's still the same person. Having a mental illness is not a choice. Being gay is not a choice. You know, do some research on your own. Ask questions. You know, if you keep your mind open just a little bit, you'd be amazed at the information that'll pop in.
Absolutely.
yeah, that's what she said. My mom took every single thing personally. When she disowned me, she sent a tape recorder. She's blind, so she taped it, and it went on for a half an hour of everything I ever did since I was 2 years old that was bad, misbehaving, and how much it hurt her. I'm 2, you know, and everything was about her. My mental illness was about her. And I would say, Google things, look things up, listen to our symptoms. Listen, if you listen to the symptom, you hear it, then look it up to find out what it is, or ask, you know.
Okay. Thank you, ladies. This talk show is so important to our mental health community. Reach out to your resources, find out what family programs that they have available, and how to talk to your families, how to talk to your loved ones, how to talk to your significant others about what's going on with you, and how to help them empathize and be able to manage through with you. There are a lot of families out there who are struggling to figure out what their part is within what your recovery is, and for their own personal recovery. A lot of families don't understand what's happening, don't understand how to embrace or how to even face what is happening with you. Reach out to your resources and find what programs are available for your families to be able to connect with you and have a frank and open conversation. I want to thank you all once again. Please like, share, enjoy the videos. Take care, and we'll see you next week.